This is part 3 of my big extensive review of Echoes of Wisdom. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, I'd recommend watching those before starting this one. Or, you can watch the entire full-length hour-long video instead. All are linked in the description. I'm Mr. Z, and this is Zelda Discussions. Let's get into the video. I have absolutely no complaints about this game's bosses. They are all winners. They all lean towards a more puzzle-solving approach, either making use of your echoes found in the dungeon or bind, and all make use of the sword. Seismic Talus has Zelda use bind to pull off his weak spot, allowing for sword strike. Mogriff has Zelda place one of the statue echoes found in the Gerudo Sanctum to block his attacks, knocking him over, allowing for you to attack. And Ganon has Zelda using the sword the entire time, just like in A Link to the Past. As well as making great use of each boss's desired method of fighting, each boss looks imposing, and their designs themselves hint at how to fight them, so that you aren't completely in the dark on how to tackle each boss. Volvagia's necklace is brightly colored and the source of his magic, so it's obvious that you gotta target that. And Scorchil has a fire and ice helmet that allows him elemental attacks, letting the player know that you need to attack him with the opposite element. And that's just to name a few. All of these bosses, while having different methods of dealing damage, still force the player to figure out how to inflict damage. And all of the extra methods of dealing damage are usually from experimenting with your own ideas. Ganon's trident can be grabbed with bind and be used to deal damage to him, if you had the idea to experiment with that. Similarly, Mogriff can be knocked out by dropping a statue under him as he's diving from up high. I love all of this game's bosses, and I'm really happy with the care and effort that was put into each and every one of them. This game has side characters that you may only interact with for one dungeon quest, but they still have well thought out character development and intriguing stories and personalities that get the player attached to them throughout the course of your time together. Two in particular are Darstan and Conde. These are the two characters I feel are the most well written in this game. Darstan, the Goron chief, helps you throughout the Elden Volcano quest. His father, the previous chief, died, and all Darstan has left of his father is a stone slate with advice for Darstan as the new chief. Darstan is still young, and he isn't confident in his own abilities, and is constantly referring to the slate to solve any problem. But when trouble strikes, he proves that he has the ability to be a good chief. In the Lizalfos burrow, he shows off his mathematical calculation skills by knocking rocks off of the ceiling, defeating half of the monsters in the cave. He shows his selflessness in the Rockroast quarry by taking Rockroast to his hungry comrades. And the Goron elders point out to Darstan what a great chief he's been. But Darstan's lack of confidence leads him to believe that it was only because of his father's wisdom that he was able to do those things. He continuously says that he isn't the chief his father was, and that he isn't good enough. But his time helping Zelda pushes him out of his comfort zone, and she is there alongside him to help. She's there to help him fight the monsters in the Lizalfos burrow, and she's there to help bring Rockroast to his friends. And this helps Darstan see that he can do the things that his father can. And he learns that he isn't his father. He's Darstan, and he can lead his people in his own unique way. And he smashes his father's tablet, his most prized possession, to help Zelda destroy a boulder blocking the way to the rift in the crater, symbolically throwing away his old unconfident ways, and moving on to be the great chief that his father knew he could become. This whole story with Darstan is very impactful, seeing how his character changes from a cowardly, timid little Goron to a great chief by learning his value and worth through his interactions with you, the player. That is a well-written character. But the last character I want to touch on, and one of my favorites in the entire series, is Conde, a Yeti in Hebra who helps you get to the Lanayru Temple. You find him passed out in a snowstorm, and upon waking him up, he offers to take you to his home until the storm passes. Once you get there, he tells you about his big brother and how he taught Conde many things, but that his brother is off on an adventure. Conde also tells you about his dad who owns the tools that Conde uses to clean the mountain. Once the storm passes, Conde leaves to go to work. Following him outside, you see him talking to a mound of stones, saying, "Dad, I promise to do my best today," and he leaves for a higher point on the mountain to clean. His father is dead, and Conde has been living by himself for who knows how long, and seeing his optimism and happiness in such a hard time is quite depressing, because you know he's staying happy to avoid the hurt he feels with the two closest people gone from his life. But higher up, you see that cleaning the mountain is him attempting to get rid of the rifts on the mountain. But his efforts are all for naught. He shovels snow on the rifts day after day in a futile attempt to get rid of it before his brother comes home. Try tries to explain to him that it isn't how it works, but he writes it off as him needing to try harder. But after you clear the rift, Conde celebrates, being proud of his work, happy that he cleaned the mountain for his brother, oblivious to the fact that it was Zelda who cleared it. Towards the top of the mountain, you see the back of what looks like another Yeti, and Conde is ecstatic about seeing what he thinks is his older brother. But the figure climbs to a higher point on the mountain, ignoring Conde. Conde chases after it, leaving you to climb after him. At the top, however, you hear him yell out in pain and see the figure walk away from a floored Conde. Conde is distraught, thinking that his own brother would beat him up like that, but he continues trying to stay positive, still bouncing happily like he used to. But this is when he breaks. Although he says he's dealt with harder blows than that, he doesn't feel like himself. He tells you that he doesn't think he was good. The last thing his brother said before he left was, "Be good, Conde," and the only logical thing in Conde's head is that he simply was not good. And now his brother, his last family member left alive, who he hasn't seen in years, the only thing keeping him from a life of eternal loneliness, has beaten him up and left him. He kept himself happy in the hopes his brother would come back because that was all he could do. But now he has nothing. His father is dead, and now his brother wants nothing to do with him. This story was likely the most emotional I have ever gotten playing a Zelda game. The seemingly happy-go-lucky Yeti living by himself in the mountains, carrying all of this emotional weight on his shoulders, finally breaking, is devastating and makes me love his character so much. But the best part is that he gets a happy ending. In the temple, Conde's brother left a record that states how much he loves his little brother and how proud he is of Conde. The Yeti that Conde mistook for his brother was actually the boss of the Lanayru Temple, Scorchill, and was not his brother at all. This news brings joy back to Conde. His depression completely disappears at this. Hearing that his brother loves him and he is still on his adventure gives Conde the courage to continue awaiting his brother's return. He says that now he can wait forever until his brother comes home. He runs around overjoyed and shouts as loudly as he can in happiness, finally bringing him the hope that he needs to hang in there. And at the end of the game, during the credits, you see Conde jumping for joy as he sees his brother's hot air balloon in the distance, finally coming home to his loving little brother. And that almost brought me to tears at the end of the game. These characters are all well written and show the sheer amount of care and effort the developers put into this game. And I really hope that we can have this amount of quality within the characters of the next Zelda game, open air or otherwise. We've officially reached the end of part 3. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, and if you're interested in my future content, consider subscribing. If you want to see part 4, I've linked it in the description as well as on screen. Have a great rest of your day. You're all appreciated, and I will see you in the next one.